walk into this room at your own risk, because it leads to the future. Not a future that will be, but one that might be. This is not a new world. It is simply an extension of what began in the old one. It has patterned itself after every dictator who has ever planted the ripping imprint of a boot on the pages of history since the beginning of time. It has refinements, technological advances, and a more sophisticated approach to the destruction of human freedom. But like every one of the superstates that preceded it, it has one iron rule. Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace. Any state, any entity, any ideology that fails to recognize the worth, the dignity, the rights of man, that state is obsolete. A case to be filed under M for Mankind in the Twilight Zone.
Ja, mensen. Daar zitten we in de Twilight Zone. Ik hoop dat het geluid goed is, dat het niet hapert, zoals vorige keer. We hebben weer heel wat op tafel liggen, voor belangrijke dingen om in de gaten te houden. We streamen natuurlijk live vanuit het mooie Maastricht, in het zuiden des lands. So, hello to you all. We are streaming live from Maastricht, which is in the south of the Netherlands. And we got a lot of issues on table to talk about, right? So, let's go to the first issue. Let's take a look at what's happening outside of the Netherlands. What's happening in the Middle East. It's always very interesting to see. Ja, wat gebeurt er in het Midden-Oosten, mensen? We kijken even naar het land Libanon. So we are going to Lebanon. There you have Lebanon. Now, what happened in Lebanon? You guys remember the big explosion that happened over there? De grote ontploffing daar zo. En de mensen willen nog steeds een antwoord. They still need answers. So we're going to take a look at what's happening in Lebanon, but first go back to the studio.
They won this round, but families of the more than 200 victims of the explosion at Beirut port are far from achieving the justice they demand. It's been nearly 3 years since one of the largest non-nuclear blasts in recent history, and Lebanon's leadership has been standing in the way of accountability.
They are trying to replace the Judge Vitar by another judge that is politically affiliated to people that are against us and against our cause. So it's a big deal. We all know that if they manage to do so, the case of the port is just, is gone.
So far, the authorities haven't been able to appoint a second judge.
Every judge in there must know the repercussions of them contributing to the divergence and to the covering of the justice.
But officials have blocked the investigation for more than a year now. They have filed lawsuits against the lead investigator, Tariq Bitar, preventing him from proceeding with his investigation. It has been established that officials as high up as the president were aware of the presence of highly explosive material at a port warehouse and did nothing about it. An investigation by human rights organizations concluded that multiple authorities were, at a minimum, criminally negligent. Many here say the answer lies in an international investigation, which authorities have repeatedly rejected.
The international community and the countries that believe in human rights should act. I mean, how long will they wait? Can't they see that the file here is dormant and it will be dormant forever if nothing comes from outside?
It's been a long battle for families who are up against a political and security establishment in a country with a culture.
So there you see it. Yep. People still want answers. You know what happened to their loved ones. And they're looking at government to, to solve this issue. But government over there in Lebanon is very fractured. And it's quite impossible to make a coalition over there, because of Hezbollah. So, ja, mensen naar hun geliefde na de grote ontploffing daar in Beirut. Beirut blast. Zo, dan gaan we dat ook even opzoeken. So, we're going to show you the Beirut explosion and the many casualties that followed.
Just after 6 p.m. local time on...
So, there you go. The biggest explosion, non-nuclear explosion ever recorded, right? Ja, mensen, vertrouwen de regering maar, hoor. Ja, die lossen het op. Die gaan het voor je oplossen, hoor. Ja, heel veel mensen dood en ja, die lossen het wel op. Maar de zaak is dus gestagneerd. Er zijn nieuwe rechters aangesteld. Er was zelfs een begin van een civiele oorlog. We hebben het allemaal bijgehouden met RHTVLive. So there was a spark of a civil war going on because armed groups were shooting in Beirut because a judge was appointed and they were not satisfied with that judge. Ja, er kwam een rechter en ze waren niet tevreden met die rechter. Gingen ze gewapend strijd voeren. Ondertussen kijken we in een kerk. We're watching many places where you could see the explosion. So there was one big explosion and it was felt all over the world. I want answers, right? I want answers. I'm not from Lebanon, but I know that many people have died because of this blast, right? And normally it shouldn't take 3 years to do an investigation and stuff like that, But when they do an investigation, they cover it up with all these whitewash commissions. En als er een onderzoek komt, dan wordt het weer onder het tapijt geveegd. En ja, men vergeet heel snel. Maar wij vergeten niet. We willen antwoord. Ik wil weten wat er gebeurd is in Beirut. En de media vertelt het ons nog steeds niet. Net als heel veel andere kwesties die niet verteld worden. Ja, er wordt wel wat verzonnen. Ja, dit en dat en bla bla. Maar is dat daadwerkelijk gebeurd? En hoe komt het dan dat alles stagneert? Je zou toch normaal een rechtsprocedure moeten hebben? Waarom stagneert dat? Ja, een beetje nadenken. Dus dat is iets om in de gaten te houden. Libanon is sowieso al een gevallen staat, financieel gezien. It's a fallen state financially. There were people that were robbing the bank for their own money. Ja, bankoverval voor je eigen geld. En dan krijg je het geld niet, hè. Nee. Onvoorstelbaar wat er allemaal gebeurt. We leven mee met de mensen in Libanon. We leven mee met de mensen in Syrië. En elders. Ook de Westbank houden we in de gaten. En de Zionisten in Israël die steeds meer land pikken. Dat is echt onvoorstelbaar. Maar ja, we trekken geen partij. We willen gewoon vrede. We want peace. Right? I'm not for the Palestinian. I'm not for the Israeli. I'm just a guy who wants peace. Right? So, and there were agreements, a two-state agreement. You guys remember that? Two-state agreement? Well, that's gone. That's off the table. Anyway, we're going to take a look at our friend Will Turbot, who was interviewing a U.S. Embassy diplomat or something along those lines, right? And we're going to take a look at a small part of the interview. Ik hoop trouwens dat mijn geluid goed is. Is er iemand die dat kan bevestigen? Niet dat ik weer aan het haperen ben. Ik zie dat Evert meekijkt. Hey Evert, is mijn geluid goed? Of ja, ik wil niet dat het gaan haperen. Nou, geluid is prima, krijg ik van Olaf te horen. So I was asking about the sound. Anyway, we're going to take a look at Will Turbot.
And then add that all up, you know, you've got the writings of the people that are behind a lot of this way of thinking. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the people behind the Council on Foreign Relations, people like the Huxleys, people like Bertrand Russell, people like the people that set up the United Nations, UNESCO, all these same people kind of were like saying, all right, this is how we're going to do things. And with what we've been talking about earlier, combine that with the fact that you have, and these people were eugenicists, you've got this new eugenics with the CRISPR, you've got this population control, and then you also have like the good guy, Elon Musk, is saying, I want to put a chip in your brain. Before we get into a few more fun topics, if you have time, there's at least a couple more questions I want to get off. What do you see as the future? Because we talked about a lot of bad things right now, but we're going to get into some solutions, some fun questions if you got time. And Roger, we already got your question. He knows about the Netherlands. If he wants to make another comment on the Netherlands, he can. But he already said Mark Rutte, and I said this to Mark Rutte. All right, but yeah, what do you see the future looking like? Because it's not looking too good, and I'm an optimist.
No, I see it's very dark. I see it as getting worse. I see it. Well, look at the news media going on about the Ukraine and how the Ukrainians are going to beat the Russian Federation. Well, that's not going to happen, but it's going to increase the price of eggs. I mean, you've got all this money flowing out of the United States or into the pockets of the fat cats running the defense contractors. And you've got shortages in the United States because we're shipping all of this stuff over to the Ukrainians. We're giving them liquefied natural gas and making prices here go up. I just got a notice from the Washington Gas Company here in D.C. They said gas bill is likely to go up another 18% this coming year because of shortages of natural gas. Well, it's being shipped to the Ukraine and to Europe because we've persuaded the Europeans to cut off imports of Russian natural gas and Russian oil and Russian diesel and so forth. And there are people on the outside. I know some groups that are working very hard to try and shed light on these dark corners. But the thing of it is that you've got to be able to do it. You've got to get traction. You've got to have money. You've got to have recognition. The Lawyers Committee for 9/11, they had sued in federal district court in New York to ensure that they get a grand jury going to investigate September 11th. And that was carried all the way up to the Supreme Court. As I understand it, on January 9th of this year, Supreme Court dismissed the case, and there's going to be no grand jury investigating what happened on September 11th of 2001.
So this is shocking, right? 3,000 people had died during 9/11. Now, don't ask me what exactly happened, but I do know, right? I do know that the government is lying to you. There are like declassified documents called Operation Northwoods. Operation Northwoods. There you go. Declassified documents. Now, we're going to take a look at what Wikipedia says. Don't really trust Wikipedia, though. They're, but still, it's this is the declassified document. Lemnitzer was part of it. Chief General of Staff, the Pentagon was part of it, and they wanted to wait. I'm going to read this. Operation Northwoods was a proposed false flag operation against American citizens that originated within the U.S. Department of Defense. Yeah, who are you defending, right? Of the United States government in 1962. The proposals called for CIA operatives to both stage and commit acts of violent terrorism against American military and civilian targets, blaming them on the Cuban government and using it to justify a war against Cuba. Right? Now, Wikipedia doesn't tell the whole story, though, but still, Lemnitzer was also involved in Operation Gladio, right? Stay behind networks in Europe, like Italy and Germany and Spain and France and other countries. Well, they did terrorist acts, and we blamed it on Russia. Oh, those Russians. Oh. So that's how NATO came into being. Right? So it's very shocking to see that 3,000 people have died for nothing. Still no answers. After all these years, still no answers on what happened on 9/11. Not even an investigation on what happened on 9/11, right? If we look at John F. Kennedy, who was shot, there was an investigation called the Warren Commission. Now, during the 70s, there also was another commission looking at the Warren Commission, right? Saying there was a conspiracy going on. So, the House of Assassination or something like that, right? House of Assassination. There you go. The U.S. Selected Committee on Assassinations. There you go. Was in the 70s. Yep. So, there you go. But this commission didn't really have the power or the wherewithal to fight the institutions, right? So, ja mensen, Operatie Northwoods, kennen we wel, hebben we het vaak over gehad bij RHTVLive. Lemnitzer, die dus ook Operatie Gladio uitvoerde in Europa. En ja, wij gaven de schuld aan de Russen. Hè? Oh, die communisten. De nazi's konden me niet meer de schuld geven. Hè? Die hadden we opgeruimd naar Nuremberg. Althans, dat dachten we. Hè? Dat is een ideologie. Dat is moeilijk om aan te pakken. Ja, en ja, nu is het de Europese Unie. Hè? Dat is nu de nieuwe nazi-ideologie. Ja. Je zou zeggen dat het nazi is nationaal socialistisch. Maar ja, dat is de Europese Unie niet echt. Hè. Het is meer communistisch-socialistisch. Ja. Ja, we zijn toch vrij? Oh ja? Hebben wij dan Russische staatsmedia? Kunnen we dat opzoeken? Ja, vast wel als je dat als je goed gaat zoeken. Ja. Maar die krijgt het niet op tv. Nee. Allemaal Nederlandse media. Oh, de NOS. Vertrouw de NOS maar. Ja. Maar we kennen dus Huig Plug. Die heeft toch wel interessante filmpjes. Waar hij dus mensen van de media confronteert. Ja. En hij is een klokkenluider, althans dat zegt hij. Dus zo kwam hij heel veel mensen van de media tegen. Ja. So, Huig Plug is a Dutch whistleblower. He used to work in the prison. And there were like lots of stuff happening in the Dutch prison system. And he was basically ignored after he blew the whistle. And we're going to take a look at the top-notch guy from the NOS, which is the Dutch mainstream media. And we're going to take a look at Huig Plug confronting him.
Gedaan. En ons gebouw staat naast de VN-gevangenis. Ik heb u een tijdje geleden aangesproken. U hoeft niet te schrikken van mij.
Nee, maar ik heb geen behoefte aan een gesprek.
Nee, ja, u heeft geen, maar wilt u het nieuws brengen van een klokkenluider? Mark Rutte wil werken aan vertrouwen. We gaan gewoon even, meneer... U verdient heel veel geld. U wilt toch het nieuws brengen, meneer Geelhof? U heeft geen behoefte aan een gesprek, maar ik wel. Niet... U heeft... Meneer Geelhof, u moet het niet zien als stolken. Ik vind, meneer Rutte wil werken aan vertrouwen, herstel van vertrouwen. U behoort het volk te informeren. Bent u dat met mij eens of niet? Wil je even een voorloop? Het gezicht van Geelhof moeten zien. Dit moet Nederland zien. Nederland moet zien hoe een hoofdredacteur van het NOS-journaal Even voor. Probeer net zoals een professionele camera. Wij doen maar wat, maar dit is nieuws. Marcel Geeloof. Kent u Niek-Jan van Kesteren? U heeft in 1980 voor de Leidse Courant gewerkt. Kent u hem? Kent u alle geheimen van het Binnenhof? U kent het. U dient het volk te informeren, meneer Geeloof. Kent u Cornelis Stolk? Kent u Theo Ruep? Pedo-kinderrechter Ruep. Het wordt tijd. Waarom brengt u het verhaal niet? Meneer Geeloof, alsjeblieft. Ik kan u het dossier aanleveren en deze hele formatie die knalt uit elkaar. Wilt u het brengen? Kijk, daar staan ze. Lakeien. Nieuwe formatie.
Nou, daar kunnen we het zien. Huigplug inderdaad, die heeft iets nieuws te brengen. En nee hoor, nee, dat gaan we niet uitzenden. Nee. Dus dat gebeurt, mensen. En zo verdraaien ze het beeld. Ja. Dan zeggen ze van, ja, er zijn Russische separatisten in Oekraïne. Nee, dat zijn mensen, de Russische minderheid in Oekraïne, die er niet voor kiezen om bij Kiev mee te doen. Ja, het zijn nog steeds Oekraïense mensen hoor, geen Russische separatisten, zoals de NOS het ons brengt. Ja. So, you just saw the guy from the NOS. His name is Marcel Geeloof. And Huigplug has a story he wants to represent to Geeloof. And nope, we're not going to talk to you. Nope. Dit gebeurt, mensen. Dit gebeurt. Mensen willen de waarheid niet onder ogen zien. En ja. Je wordt belachelijk gemaakt als je de waarheid verkondigt. In een empire of lies, the truth is always... Ja, je snapt het wel. Dus, this is what's happening, people. You know, the truth is being ignored. What about the Sasquatch, right? Sasquatch. Now, a lot of people are like, Bigfoot. No, that's not real. Well, how do you know? It's a big country, America and Canada. You know, big countries. And Saskatchewan, Alberta, British Columbia, the Highway of Tears. You guys remember that? Highway of Tears. The trolls were here too, of course. Zo zie je. Dan heb je het over de Highway of Tears. Nooit van gehoord. Highway of Tears. There you go. So people have been missing from Canada in British Columbia. And, you know, there is this route. And we're going to show you guys.
Anticipate them wanting to be happy that I'm in their face at their door, so we'll just wing it, and things look bad, run like hell.
Okay. Growing up here, I had no idea that women were going missing and being murdered, and that more often than not, those women were Indigenous. And it was around 2002 that the Highway of Tears started being talked about a lot more publicly, and started learning about this other place in the province where, again, women were going missing and being murdered. Most of the cases are unsolved, and once again, most of those women were indigenous. Working as a journalist in this city, I learned about this guy named Ray, who is an ex-cop, and he's been investigating some of these unsolved cases on his own time, and he's agreed to let us come with him to show us what he's all about, and also really curious where he fits into the bigger picture of the Highway of Tears and, unfortunately, what's been going on there for a long time.
There you go. Right, the Highway of Tears. You can't help but shudder at the sinister nickname for British Columbia's provincial Autoroute 16, known as the Highway of Tears, which is both a trucking passage and a winding graveyard of up to 42 Aboriginal women, most of which assumed murdered by a series of active serial killers. Well, who knows? Who knows? If we look at Dave Politis, right? Missing 411. The Can-Am Missing Project. You see, well, we're going to show you guys.
Hey there friends, Dave Politis, Can-Am Missing Project, copyrighted edition for our video channel. And this is a missing persons segment, so thanks for being here. And I've got a fascinating cluster to talk to you about in the state of Washington today. And got some interesting things to talk to you about the movie. Now hopefully, the majority of you, the vast majority, have watched this. Because if you're here, and you're watching the videos, it doesn't make sense that you don't watch this. You'll have a huge insight into what I'm going to talk to you about today at multiple levels. But for the people who haven't watched, this won't be as interesting as to the people who have watched. So what I'm going to do is I pulled some reviews that were online of the movie. And I want you to really understand what I'm up against. Because I've talked to you about Wikipedia before. And many of you understand it's a complete sham review of me. I mean, whoever wrote it knows I don't make or do any of those things that they've said. So anyhow, go read the Wikipedia. And then some of you say, well, Dave, why would you be upset? I've lost a lot of jobs because of that. And a lot of people go to Wikipedia, and some of them are really smart people and they don't know. So here's the first review I want to read for you. I've been interested in the missing 411 phenomena for years. The Hunted is the best movie, and this has to be the worst. It actually has me questioning if the earlier matter is not heavily exaggerated. He makes several wild claims and does nothing to back it up. His investigation technique is awful and pushes theories on people he was interviewing. It's obvious he leaves out parts of the storyline. The movie has me totally questioning the rest of his material. What theories did I put forth in that movie? He makes several wild claims. I did? And this is the worst movie?
It sounds like the trolls are trolling you. Yep, just like what's happening to me, Dave. You know, the trolls are here. Trolletje, kom uit je holletje. Kneusjes. So,
In addition, the production quality is poor. Interviews are dark and not properly lit. The production quality is poor? Wow. Next review. The movie is good for those who have... you got to listen to this one now. The movie is good for those who have no belief or power to think critically because it is undeniable proof of the unexplained. As one who has seen many UFOs, this movie casts the wrong idea on them. I have seen them and believe they come in peace. I see in these movies an agenda being spelled out by enlists to make extra-dimensional beings seem evil when in fact we as people are doing far more damage to our species than they've ever done. Fascinating. Because I've read hundreds of reports from abductees who claim they are probed at all orifices, that they are forcibly impregnated. So where is this person living? And am I the bad person because I give you reports of what people say and back it up reports from our government agencies that UFOs were in those areas? I guess I am the bad person. The documentary, this is the next one. The documentary needs improvement. It drags on and never really ties anything together. I got to read that one again. The documentary needs improvement. It drags on and never really ties anything together. Well, in one part of the movie, Dave P. talks about the disappearance. So she's saying, or this person's saying, that I don't tie anything together? Well, let me think. Remember the first person who disappeared in British Columbia? They were a hunter. They were German. They disappeared without a scent trail. They were near water. And there were UFO reports from the area. And isn't that exactly what tied in the hunters in the other states? I guess that's not enough. Next review. These are all one-star reviews. Same boring storyline from all of his previous shows. Really? Now, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but can I tell you that we didn't use the same storyline? Did this person even watch the movie? I am a little astonished. Now, I always save the best till the last. This is the next one-star review. I was looking forward to this documentary, but after watching it was very disappointed. There were small moments that captured my attention, but nothing tied all of the stories together. All hunters, all German, none found. Canines couldn't pick up a scent. Need I go on and on? Are these people paying attention? Or, let me go on this one. Events would be discussed, but nothing outside of what was really been mentioned for many years already. I was hoping this would be very different, and it wasn't. It was just more strange disappearance cases, but disappearances that were very unique and different from anything else. Nonetheless, I watched it with my mother, and we thought it was actually boring for most of the film. I'm still a big fan of Dave's work and admiration he has trying to at least solve one of the biggest mysteries of mankind. I think this one just missed the mark and seemed rushed and repetitive. Rushed and repetitive. Do you have the same issues with these reviews as I do? Because they don't make any sense to me. And I've had other friends read them and they said the same thing. It's Dave, it's like they didn't even watch the movie, or it was designed to convince others not to watch it. It was a slam review.
Well, that's what the trolls are doing, right? You know, they're slamming you for your opinion. So, that's what's happening, people. That's what's happening. So we covered them quite a lot. But still, we have another video to show. So here we go.
Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has done a Ron DeSantis. NGO taxi ships arriving in the country are being redirected to drop off migrants in cities run by leftist mayors. And suffice to say, they're not very happy about it. The new policy has sparked protests from left establishment Democratic Party and the city mayors themselves, arguing that the measures are punitive despite the supposed benefits of diversity and immigration. Cultural enrichment, just not in our backyard. I mean, what's the problem? Are they suggesting that these migrants are bringing anything but peace, prosperity and harmony? Sounds pretty racist to me. Wanda Ferro, the Undersecretary at Italy's Interior Ministry, said, quote, "The left protests because NGO ships are finally disembarking in other regions of central Italy and no longer in the south. Evidently on the left, they would like to transform Calabria and Sicily into the refugee camp of Europe, a completely unacceptable prospect. The people in charge of the NGO migrant ships are also whining that they're going to have to travel a bit further, having already lengthened their journeys to avoid North African ports because they want the migrants to be dropped off in Europe." In making the change, Meloni is channeling Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who famously sent Central American migrants to the wealthy liberal enclave of Martha's Vineyard, where the area's moneyed elite swiftly sent them packing. After claiming that just 50 migrants arriving in their exclusive domain represented a humanitarian emergency. Yes to diversity, just keep it away from me. In Italy, NGO ships who don't comply with the new rules face massive fines or even having their vessels seized. Oh no, how awful. They've begged the EU to exercise its dictatorial powers to overrule Meloni. But at least so far, they're staying well out of it.
So there you have it, right? Italy is saying no to the refugees and sending them off to rich places in Italy. And they don't want that. Nope, they do not want that. Dus we zien het, Italië zegt van nee, geen vluchtelingen meer. En de Europese Unie heeft er niks op te zeggen. Ja. Dus en hetzelfde kan Nederland doen. Wij kunnen ook een keer nee zeggen. Maar ja, we slaan natuurlijk een flater. Politiek gezien. Want weet je nog, toen we naar Qatar toe gingen. Ja, we hebben het niet zo heel goed gedaan met het voetballen. Maar ook afspraken maken, dat is een beetje te moeilijk. We gaan eens even naar Harry Vermegen toe. Die kennen we nog wel, Harry Vermegen. Harry Vermegen, daar. Is het een klunze of een kneuze kabinet? Dat vraagt hij zich af. En ja, gezien het lage vertrouwen in de politiek. Ja, en gezien er eigenlijk gewoon niks veranderd is. Ja, kun je wel zeggen van het is een kneuzenkabinet. Ja, kneusjes. Die denken de macht te hebben. Voor altijd en voor eeuwig. Hè. Rutte zei bijvoorbeeld, ik wil best de rest van mijn leven premier zijn. Ja, dat heeft hij daadwerkelijk gezegd, hè. Voor de trolletjes die meekijken. Die regie verzint het. Ik wil best de rest van mijn leven premier zijn. Ja, daar kunnen we het zien. Er heeft ook nog een vaasje vast, hè, weten we nog. Een brief naar alle Nederlanders. Nederland is een vaasje. Een vaasje. Nou ja, goed. Dus we krijgen hem nooit weg. Ja, serieus. We zitten altijd met deze knakworst vast. Deze grote kneus. Die heeft de Grote Kneuzen Award gewonnen. Van 2022. Maar ja, we zullen nog altijd met deze kneus te maken hebben. Dus. Maar goed. Is de kneuzenkabinet? Hè? Dat is maar de vraag. Dat stelt Harry Vermegen. We gaan even kijken naar wat Harry zegt.
Ja, vrienden, ik was weer aan het vergaderen met mezelf. Ja, trek ik me terug, weet je wel, in mijn kleine kamertje hier. En dan, maar dan ben ik heel druk bezig met bijvoorbeeld, is het nou een klunzenkabinet, hè, wat we hebben? Of is het een kneuzenkabinet? Ja, en dat gaat me heen en weer in mijn hoofd. En dan denk ik, welke moet ik nou kiezen? En ik kwam in die situatie omdat ik dus... Ja, dan lees ik dan weer over wat er nu gebeurt met dat vloeibare gas uit Qatar. Heb je dat helemaal gevolgd van begin af aan? Want iedereen was toen bij die WK. Oh, Qatar, dat kon helemaal niet. En daar mochten we helemaal geen zaken mee doen en noem maar op. En toen legde het kabinet uit aan ons van ja jongens, we hebben dat gas uit Qatar heel hard nodig. Ja, om de komende jaren de toekomst door te komen. Dus laten we nou in godsnaam gewoon in gesprek blijven met Qatar. En laten we daar nou naartoe gaan. En laten we daar ook mensen heen sturen van het kabinet. Enzovoort, enzovoort. Nou, ze hadden ons overtuigd. Toch? Ja, iedereen dacht van, nou ja, als dat zo belangrijk is voor dat vloeibare gas, laten we dat dan maar doen. Nou, en wie gingen we toen sturen? Nou, daar komt hij dan, hè, vrienden. Nou, heel veel beraad, hè. Daar kwam die. Ene mevrouw Connie Helder, hadden we er nog nooit van gehoord. Die kende niemand. Bleek ene minister van Sport te zijn. Ja, mevrouw Helder, een of ander huisvrouwtje, werd er gestuurd. Ja, die stonk helemaal naar de spruitjes toen ze eraan aankwam in Qatar. En die had er een jurkje aan en een dingetje omgedaan. Die had zo'n piepklein speltje om toch nog iets van de One Love Band, weet je wel. Het werd me een vertoning. Dan ging Nederland me daar af als een gigantische gieter. Nou, in ieder geval. En die moest dan ook nog eens een keertje daar gaan zitten babbelen over dat vloeibare gas. Nou, dat werd natuurlijk helemaal niks. En dat ging ook niet door. Duitsland had wel iemand gestuurd. En die hadden gelijk een deal voor 15 jaar gas. Ja. En Nederland heeft nu helemaal nog niks met Qatar geregeld. Nee, want ze zouden jongetje Jette, die zou ook nog gaan, hè, tijdens dat toernooi. Heeft Nederland niet gedaan, is niks gebeurd. Ik bedoel, in plaats dat je daar nou gewoon die Willem... Als je nou toch zaken doet dan met Qatar, ga dan met die Willem-Alexander daarheen en neem Jette mee en ga naar die Emir en dan doe je zaken. Nee, dat doen we niet. Nederland bleef maar twijfelen. Moeten we nou wel gaan, moeten we niet gaan? Bang voor kritiek. En dat bleef maar en er gebeurde weer niks. Ja, dus ze gingen weer klassiek, vrolijk zo op de handjes zitten. Ja, daar is het kabinet heel goed in. En gevolg, er is nog helemaal geen deal. En nou hebben ze wauwelende... Ja, Wopke. De wauwelende Wopke. Ja, die zit nu in Qatar. Die is daarheen. Ja, om te kijken of er nog een deal kan gesloten worden over dat gas. En de experts vertellen, ja, Nederland is veel te laat. Ja, dat had allemaal tijdens de WK of net daarvoor al had dat moeten gebeuren. Maar nee, Nederland loopt weer helemaal achteraan, vrienden. Nou, en zo kwam ik dus, met die kennis kom ik dus weer in mijn kamertje terecht. En daar zat ik dus, ja. Is het een klunzenkabinet of is het een kneuzenkabinet? Nou, en toen heb ik even goed met mezelf de knoop doorgehakt in mijn vergadering. En toen heb ik besloten dat ik klunzen toch iets te positief en iets te aardig vind toch. Dus ik ben uitgekomen op, het is een kneuzenkabinet.
Nou, dan weten we dat, hè. Het is een kneuzenkabinet. Een kneuzenkabinet. Ja, en er zijn veel kneuzen in ons land. Ja, dus er zijn heel veel kneuzen. Maar ja, we gaan gewoon door, ondanks dat we worden lastiggevallen. En wij hebben jouw kanaal, Rogier. So what, man? Stik erin. Ik heb al lang een andere kanaal. Jongen. Echt, wat een kneus. So, the trolls are attacking me, of course. And others on the channel. This is because they have no life. You see? They're bored. Yeah. They're like, who are we gonna pick on right now? Well, let's pick on Rogier. Yeah, let's pick on him. Oh my God, man. Get a life. You know, get a life. Ja, mensen, we worden weer lastiggevallen door trolletjes. En zoals altijd, hè, altijd komen ze weer. Oh, hopje. Ach man. Wat een zielig gedoe. Echt. Grow up. Alright? Get some balls. Get some testicles. Alright? So, we're gonna go. Thank you all for watching. See you guys next time.